Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for the 2022 USBC Team USA Trials. My name is Aaron Smith, here from Gold Coast Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, and joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Emil Williams Jr., EWJ. Good morning, and welcome back to Bowl TV.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Smith, how are you? We're here. Finally, man, it's day one. Day one of competition. For some people, it's a big sigh of relief as well because we talked about weather and all this other stuff that were delaying folks, and people did make their way here. So happy to get on the board early and get some things started and see what day one has to offer.
Absolutely, and we're going to go out to the lanes. We're not going to waste any time. We'll go ahead and get to full screen for you good folks as we take this live look into game number one of the 6-game block on our 38-foot condition being used today here for day number one. The men's field currently on the lanes. The women will be competing a little bit later today. Scheduled start time for that 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 local time. But we're going to head to lanes 39 through 42. And decided to start off with this pair because we got not only a couple great competitors, but a couple of past winners of team trials. And they've happened to win a couple PBA Tour titles along the way as well. So kicking things off with Jacob Buttrick and Kyle Troop on 41 and 42. Pretty excited to see how they attack this 38-foot condition to get things going. Currently on 39 and 40, we have Willie Jones, Shane Matthews, Noah Gallegos, and Devin Dowdle. And then joining Kyle and Jacob on 41 and 42, Cody Stevens, Ryan Barnes, and Adam Zimmerman. Folks, as we settle in here for the good folks who are, wanting to follow this event throughout the course of the week, obviously here on BowlTV.com, we're going to have lanes 31 through 58 streamed each and every day, leading up to the stepladder finals for the U.S. Amateur on January 7th. And of course, the announcement of Team USA and Junior Team USA in 2022. But for those of you looking to follow the stats, follow the information, be sure to head to bowl.com/Team USA Trials. Or from the tournaments tab, once you get to bowl.com, you can find that in the short duration section of the menu. Not only do we have results, lane assignments, the oil patterns for each day, but we also have live scoring available. So with live scoring, you can follow the entire house, follow your favorite athletes as they compete here, and kind of track their progress. So that'll be a helpful tool for us along the way as well. Just keeping an eye on things. I already saw a comment in the Bowl TV chat wondering about how many 300s we're going to see this particular week. And Team Trials typically has produced some high-scoring days over the years.
I think there's no doubt if you're a follower of this event, but and even if you're new to it, if you're a Bowl TV subscriber, maybe getting a chance to check out Team USA Trials for the first time, there typically is one or two patterns, at least one though, that has a bit higher scoring than others. I think that's the best way to say that, and I don't think it's done intentionally per se. I just do think it's a byproduct of whatever pattern it is. Some patterns tend to or lend themselves to higher scores than others, and I think that's just a fact kind of across the board. And so whatever those patterns may be, or what that pattern might be, we'll soon find out. The players will let us know which ones they deem a bit higher scoring than others. Personally, I think day 5, the last pattern, will be higher scoring. Will it be the highest scoring? That certainly will be determined. But I do think day 5 will produce high scores. in my opinion.
Jacob Butcher with an early double out of the gates. For those of you just joining us for the first time here at Team Trials, kind of interested in the format, this is a 5-day event, but each day offering something a little bit different. As I mentioned, 5 different oil patterns throughout the course of the week. The players had the opportunity to practice on all 5 across the 70-lane center here yesterday in a 2-hour practice session, kind of begin to solidify their game plans for the week. Each block is going to be 6 games, but typically you would think the pinfall would carry over for each round. That's not necessarily the case here for Team Trials. So each day it's basically its own mini event as part of the bigger event that is Team USA Trials. So after day number 1, obviously the players will have their 6-game scores in the books. And then based off of their placement in the standings, they will receive ranking points. So if you finish first on the day, if you lead the entire squad, if you're first, you get 1 point. If you're second, you get 2 points. If you finish 14th, you get 14 points. If you finish 28th, you get 28 points, so on and so forth. And that happens each day. So the goal throughout the course of the week is to keep that number low. So you want to have consistent finishes, around the top 10, top 5. Keep that number low to put yourself in position to not only win Team Trials, potentially make the U.S. Amateur if you're eligible for that, but also to earn an automatic spot on Team USA.
And if not known, or I think Aaron mentioned this already, but just to reiterate, it is a cumulative week of scoring. Cumulative. So your points are adding every day. It is possible to lead a block or lead a day, I should say, be the day 1 or day 2 or day 3 leader. And of course, not be the overall leader. It may not be close to being the overall leader, depending on how the rest of your week has gone. So something to just keep in mind as you peruse through the week. And, really once we get to about day 3 and you start to kind of think about, all right, who can make a run, and you kind of start to line up the standings and, see who has done a decent job the first couple of days of, as we talked about yesterday, consistency, keeping the tallies and, low. I think if you realistically, Aaron, what do you think? You've seen this event multiple times. If you can be like top 15 every day, theoretically,
you're definitely in the ball game with that. Looking at, we kind of looked at some point totals from last year's event and talking about Kelly Kulick's, or excuse me, the 2020 event. Looking back at Kelly Kulick's record-setting performance, just accumulating 13 points throughout the course of the week. So once again, over 5 days, that's essentially better than 5 top 5s. So if you finish 5th for 5 days, you have 15 points. So I think her low finish was 7th. She won 2 days in there. It was just incredible overall what she was able to do winning this event in 2020. But looking at some of the other scores, typically I feel it's a little bit different on the men's side just because it's a bigger field. So it seems like sometimes that number might be a little bit higher. But I feel typically if you're in the 50 to 60 range, you're going to be in the mix for the top 4 for one of the automatic bids. So obviously there's going to be outliers every year. There's years when 1 or 2 people Like when Kyle won, him and AJ Johnson were neck and neck for 4 straight days before they finished 1-2. But they had kind of put themselves in position to where, they weren't going to have a crazy high number just because they were both bowling so well. But typically, 50, 60 is kind of definitely putting you in the mix. And Kyle, fortunate to get that 10 pin out of there. And with that, getting that out of the way, obviously, 50 points is 5 10th place finishes. So if you're doing that, you're staying consistent, you're going to be in the mix.
And that's probably going to, not even probably, that's going to definitely get you a look in regards to the selection committee.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They aren't looking at just the totals at the end of the week. They are looking at, individual performances on certain patterns as well, because, again, they're trying to look at the team in the broad spectrum. And understanding that, when they go to international events, typically there's only one pattern at an international event, but that the players see, of course, 4 to 5 times in that week. And the bottom line is, hey, some players may, from a strengths and weaknesses perspective, may perform better on certain things or patterns than others. And so they got to keep that in mind. Also, I think it'd be cool, Aaron, if we could figure out a way to not give out secrets, but to be in the mix of a selection committee meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Now our goal this week is to certainly talk with Brian O'Keefe and Kelly Kulick, the leaders now coaching from a coaching perspective of the program, and we will talk to them throughout the week about how they will handle things and what they're looking for as they build teams. But it's got to be a tough, think about any kind of boardroom type situation,
Mm-hmm.
especially at the end of this week when they've got to make those selections. It's got to be tough. I'd love to be in the room.
And I've had some of those conversations as well. And it, each of the members of the committee kind of have their own way to evaluate, own way to kind of rank players based off of their performances throughout the week. And I'm not going to let any of those necessarily slip out, but that's another consideration is, each of those members is, there isn't necessarily, okay, we all have a system which we're doing it. And that actually, could change certainly, but, from what I've known from the past is that everybody kind of has their own way of evaluating player performances. And then, they get together, they have those meetings. Definitely a tough job. Adam Zimmerman getting that 9 pin out of there. Former junior Team USA member. But definitely some tough decisions to make when it gets to the end of the week.
I was always told, just growing up in athletics, anytime there's a selection situation, obviously you want to control your own destiny. And the only way to do that is to earn one of the automatic spots. The other way to do it, though, is kind of like I was always told, make it as difficult of a decision as you can make if there's a selection process. And so that's kind of the other goal. The players this week, make it so hard that, they got to spend, and I feel like maybe last year, the year before, there was some extended time taken for the selection committee. Like it was like 15, 20 minutes well past the time we were supposed to start the presentation. And but the way the week had went, I don't remember the year, but you can tell that there were several people in the mix of being chosen. And obviously you could have chosen them all, but you couldn't. Lastly, Aaron, I think one thing that goes unnoticed, or maybe not unnoticed, but it's one of those like read the fine print kind of things, is that in the rules, the selection committee does have the ability to add additional players at their discretion, really at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that happen a few years back. And so that's always something to keep in mind. Not that they want to do that, but situations may cause for that to happen as well, especially in a situation where we're living through a pandemic. So you never quite know when someone's not going to be available.
As we get to the halfway point here of game number 1 of our 6-game block, big hello as well to the folks watching on Facebook and YouTube who are joining us here. Our sneak peek on those platforms after game number 1. However, we're going to shut that feed down, and we will be going exclusively to BoldTV.com. So be sure to head on over, pick up your subscription today. A few different price points to come in at. You can buy an event ticket and watch the live coverage all 5 days, $14.95. Kind of a one-time commitment deal. You can pick up a monthly recurring subscription for $9.95, which grants you full access to the website as well. So not only the live coverage, but chance to go back to watch all the archived events from not only this event, but all the content on BoldTV.com, and then the on-demand channels as well. And then an annual recurring subscription, $79.95, which once again gets you full access to the website for the entire year. Get to take in the entire 2022 PWBA Tour season, qualifying and match play from the USBC Masters and US Open, top tier senior and youth events, collegiate, TNBA, UBA, and much more, all with that annual recurring subscription. So a few different price points to check out. Transaction fees do apply for all 3. And of course, along with the great bowling coverage throughout the course of the season, get to interact with the Bold TV community. Jacob will take that one. Wasn't the way he planned it. But 4 out of 5, standout left-hander. But in addition to the chatting with the Bold TV community, we have the Bold TV chat open all times while we're competing. But giveaways. We have a giveaway each round of qualifying, and then a grand prize each day as well. So BoldTV.com. Not only can you watch, you can learn, you can win. Kyle still looking to get comfortable here. Shot in the 4th, got a little bit too far right. Got a 210 combo. Comes back, leaves the 3-6 in his 5th frame.
We shout out early to Donut Daryl.
Oh.
So I'm checking in via Facebook. Who normally would be bowling this event. But it's just like he is bowling because he sent a special delivery of donuts this morning.
From the official donut partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Shout out to Daryl. Had a question in the Bold TV chat about Stephanie Johnson, and Stephanie will not be competing this week. Do not see her name on the roster. Cannot confirm or deny why, but I'm sure she has turned in a resume though for the week. I believe 17-time member of Team USA now, so Stephanie's certainly eligible to be selected through the resume process. And that's something we will, talk about throughout the course of the week in these broadcasts. Will be concerning how players make Team USA and Junior Team USA throughout the course of the week. You can find that more in the rules section of the event, but automatic perks are available. Players can earn spots by winning the U.S. Amateur at the end of the week. Players can earn spots through the National Selection Committee based off of their performance this week if they do not make or do not earn an automatic spot. And then the National Selection Committee can also select players through the resume process. If they qualify through that, Jacob will take the 3 on the Greek Church to be eligible to be able to put in your resume for Team USA. You have had to have been on either Team USA or Junior Team USA within the last 10 years. Top 25 in earnings on the PBA Tour during the 2021 season, which I believe Kyle Troop was eligible for. Or the top 25 in points on the PWBA Tour during the season. So if a player does hit one of those criteria, they are eligible to submit a resume. The Emil Williams Jr. resume would say national champion, Hall of Famer.
It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be eligible though. But keep going.
That's all I had.
Exactly.
I mean, bowling wise, that's all I had. But those are two pretty strong statements.
Those are really, two valid and very good points. There's no doubt about that.
Ryan Barnes with the cover there on 42. If he happens to look familiar, if you're wondering, man, where have I heard that Barnes name before? His very talented parents are joining us this week as well. Chris and Linda, USBC Hall of Famers. Ryan's been on a tear recently, putting up some big scores. Seems like every other day, 300s and 800s, but also a freshman this year on Wichita State, representing the Shockers. I believe the first time we've seen Ryan at team trials. Then.
I got a chance to see saw Linda at the. Well, I was briefly at the collegiate shootout and the Glenn Carlson, but things didn't go the way we needed them to. I saw Wichita State briefly, and it was cool to see Linda, and of course Parker Bones was there as well. His son Justin is also a part of the Wichita State team. Parker is also here this week, and almost the entire Bone family is here. Justin, Brandon, I believe Sydney also is Bone. But from the Barnes perspective, just watching Linda and even Chris this week too, it's hard to watch. Much different thing. Obviously, they're used to throwing the ball. The different level of nervousness and anxiety. But Ryan has made a really nice jump. I mean, literally just seems like a few years ago he was standout 3-point shooter and hooper at Den Geyer, helping his team compete, try to get in position to win state championships. It's almost like he's just flipped the switch. But I guess it's in his blood.
So Emil, I went through our live scoring here, kind of gauge scoring pace, and one of our lane monitors here, right on top of it, we do have a front 7, courtesy of the principal.
The principal is off to a good start.
Justin O'Shaughnessy, former member of Junior Team USA, stand out at The former Robert Morris, Illinois. Front 7 over on 61 and 62. So within our viewing distance where we're actually located, but not quite on cameras from what we got here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, if Justin continues his striking ways and maybe puts up 3 bills here in the early portion of the day, we'll be sure to have a video of his final few shots available on USBC social media. And that was just way too quick for us. We still clouding in 22. Justin did not strike in the 8th frame. Our bad principle. Another player off to a real strong start over on 25 and 26. Tyler Keller went spare 7-bagger for a spare opportunity in the 9th, so he can still shoot 268 with the conversion. After this game, players will be beginning their trek across the house. For those of you who have looked at lane assignments and are wondering the skip procedure, players on the right lane will go right. Players on the left lane will go left. It'll be a 12-lane skip, so you'll get to see every bay, if you will, of Gold Coast and its 70 lane just about. You'll get to experience the low end, the high end, and everything in between. That walk from the high end to the low end, though, get your steps in.
It's a good opportunity to do that this week. Good note there from Jeff. Appreciate that, Jeff, regarding Tyler Keller. But Florida has always produced high caliber youth into adult players. Appreciate you, Bob, for checking in on Facebook. Good question. If you missed that earlier, today's pattern is a 38-foot, 28.655 milliliter pattern. At 28.655, of course, the full volume, 38 feet, the length. You check the graph, at bull.com/Team USA trials. Click on information. We have every lane condition that will be contested this week, both men and women.
And if you're watching on BullTV.com right now, we actually have that available just above the chat. So you see the star tab. For those in the chat, if you click on that, that will take you to that page and take care of all that information right at your fingertips. That's the same stuff we use throughout the course of the week to keep an eye on everything. So. Good question in the Bold TV chat. Do the winners of Junior Gold have an automatic spot on Team USA? For the winners in the U18, U20 divisions of Junior Gold, which took place last July, they did earn spots on Junior Team USA. So the junior team, not the adult team. And then the winners in the U15 division earned spots on the development team of Junior Team USA. So good question. There are players who have already earned their spots on the 2022 junior team based off of their performances at Junior Gold in 21 in Indianapolis. So that'll be something we'll break down throughout the course of the week as well. One pair or a couple pairs, I guess it should be prefaced where Emil and I are located right now. We're actually behind lanes 55 through 58. It's kind of our booth location this week. But we can pull from all the streams that are ongoing throughout the course of the week here on BullTV.com and bring those up as talking points develop or as players, begin to strike a bunch. We have front sevens, front eights, and such. We will head over to those and see if the player can finish things out. But a player who's by our location, not on camera right now, putting together a real nice game, is Cameron Crowe, who missed the practice session yesterday because he was caught behind some bad weather in the Chicagoland area. But Cameron said, no practice, no problem. Going to be in the 250s out of the gates. I mentioned Justin O'Shaughnessy at the front seven after split in the eighth. He was unable to cover up, spare in the ninth. So he can still get into the 250s as well with a double in the 10. Jacob gets him to mix up in the ninth. Still gets to 229 this game. Adam Zimmerman looking to add a double of his own. Can get to 227. He strikes out. Noah getting ready to step up on 40. Working on the double, his max. 233 still out there. Keep falling, no. There you go. Take them when you can get them. 3 in a row. Set up his 10th frame. The pro with the fro. Borrow line from Dave Ryan. Kyle can get to 196 this game.
You look at this group overall, there's obviously some really, really good players. Got some solid players also here. You know, fresh on anything can be tricky, to say the least. Take what you try to learn from practice yesterday and see if it's, you know, going to be similar to what you saw yesterday. Probably in a way, yes, but probably not, as we know.
Jacob did get the first hit in the 10th there. 229 still out there. Jacob fresh off a gold medal performance in trios competition for Team USA at the 2021 IBF Super World Championships, which took place in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, back in November, along with AJ Johnson, Andrew Anderson, and Chris Craven.
And if you follow him on social media, he looks to be very excited about what this year could bring for him. I think both professionally and I think more so personally. Trying to make some lifestyle changes, and he's been open and sharing with the world, theoretically, you know, what he is hoping to do and looking forward to doing.
So ball for Jacob, 229 with a strike, and gonna get it.
The only unfortunate thing about Jacob is that he's got a brutal jersey on,
Oh,
representing
oh,
a brutal team.
oh. That's a Dak and Jacob are going to have way more fun watching the playoffs than we are this year.
There's no doubt. Dallas Cowboys. I like to, for some reason, I'm like the Stephen A. Smith of Cowboys fans, probably both. But only because I know so many. I think that's what it is. Good shot there, by the way, by Ryan. Oh, that's going to get up.
Oh.
Got on the horse. Always like Zimmerman's game. Got some skills.
Jumped onto the scene in 2015 on the national scale, winning the U15 and junior gold. Moved on to Weber International, as I mentioned, a couple years in Junior Team USA as well. Spare will get into the 2-0s. 208 for no. So that'll be the high tally over on 39 and 40. Jacob leads the way overall here on our live look into lanes 39 through 42 for game one. Once again, as a heads up for those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, we will be closing off this feed in just a little bit to the conclusion of these final few frames before getting on to the rest of the block here exclusively on BowlTV.com. So once again, head on over, create your login. Oh, Getting mean on that messenger. Adam Zimmerman finishes with 2:06. Pick up that subscription to watch these great athletes compete throughout the course of the week. As they look to earn spots on Team USA and Junior Team USA 2022. Shane with the cover. You can get to 181. Ryan Barnes, 194. Cody Stevens, 192. Willie Jones, 132. Noah Gallegos, 208. Devin with the spare. He can get to 193. Adam Zimmerman, 206. Jacob Butcher, 229. Troop to get into the 190s. Not going to get the trip two. We'll be in the 180s to kick things off today. Shane finishes with 181. 185 for the 2021 PBA Player of the Year. One final shot to go from Devin. Strike gets him to 193. Put it on the board, yes. All right, Mr. Williams, that concludes game number one. So, folks, once again, we're going to take a quick reset here to get ready for game two. So, once again, for the folks watching on Facebook and YouTube, we certainly appreciate you swinging on by to Bowl TV to check out game one, the 2022 USBC Team USA Trials and U.S. Amateur Championships of the men's competition. We'll be back a little bit later today, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 local time here in Las Vegas for the women's opening round. So we'll have another live look in them as well. So keep that on the calendar, but definitely encourage you to check out bowltv.com, pick up that subscription to join all the action. If you're already on bowltv.com, then you already know you're in the right spot to be to watch continued coverage of competition here from Gold Coast in Las Vegas. So we're going to take a quick reset. We'll be back for game two in just a moment here on Bowl TV. Team Trials will toss up that schedule as we get ready for the next game.